Welcome to Shotgun Passion with Travis Mears. I got Patty Bedford here. She's going to be my shooter today. On the internet, there's a ton of great videos about technique and how to shoot crossers and how to approach various targets. But one of the things I think is a little bit overlooked is fundamentals, okay? It doesn't matter if it's your first day shooting or if you're a seasoned veteran. Fundamentals are going to be the most important thing to get us through the pressure situations, okay? So Patty's going to be our shooter today, and we're going to go through some of the steps to prepare her to be a competitive shooter. Fundamentals have to do with our foot position, our mount, our stance, the way we approach a target, okay? So, Patty, you've been shooting for, what, a year or two now?
Yes.
Okay, and you've got a great gun. She's shooting a Siren N2, and it's a beautiful gun. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to make sure that Patty is equipped correctly with her eye dominance, her mount, her stance, and they're going to put her in some target scenarios and let her break some birds, okay? You ready?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. Okay, Patty, so one of the first things I like to check, and this is very important because we use our eyes in this game, is eye dominance, okay? So eye dominance, what we're trying to determine is which one of your eyes is stronger, okay? So what I'm going to ask you to do is if you will take your dominant hand and raise it up, and I want you to point at my camera. So her hand is just under her right eye. So her dominant eye is a right eye, and she's dominant right-handed, and so this is all good for you, okay? Your stronger eye's on the right side, which is to be looking over the gun. Very prominent in females to be cross-dominant. And they say that makes them smarter because you use both sides of your brain, but yet to be determined. My wife is cross-dominant, and well, we're not gonna finish that, but she's gonna watch this, I'm gonna be in trouble. But Patty, you're not in that scenario, but let's say you were. If you came up to your left eye with your right hand, then we'd be having a different conversation. We'd be talking about whether you wanted to dot the eye, whether you wanted to switch to left-handed. If you're just shooting for fun, maybe close the eye, or you can also just teach the left eye to take over by shooting a whole bunch of rounds. But we're not in that scenario, so this is a good thing. Patty's right-handed, right eye dominant. So let's move to the next step. Okay, Patty, so we've determined you're right-handed and right eye dominant. This is a good thing. We're gonna move on to our mount, okay? What we're trying to do is mount the gun in a way that the eye is aligned with the muzzle and pointing where we want it to in a comfortable way and a way that allows us to get to the various target presentations. And oh, by the way, we want our point of impact to be where we're looking, okay? And so the way we mount the gun is very important, especially when we're shooting a lot. We've got to be in position to handle that, okay? So fundamentals wise, this is one of the must pay attention to things. So Patty, go ahead and mount the gun, and we're gonna make a few adjustments. Okay, so Patty, you've got an awesome gun that fits you well. This is a Siren Elos N2. First thing I see before looking down the muzzle and checking our eye is that we might be leaning back a little bit, okay? So I want to go through kind of the steps here of how we can adjust this, and it's going to start from down low, okay? So what I want you to do is just barely break your knees, just the slightest, okay? I don't want you to bend them, but I want you to break them, okay? Maybe turn this right foot out just a little bit. There you go. All right, now what we're gonna do, Patty, is we're gonna try to get our nose over that lead toe, and the way we're gonna accomplish that is we're gonna take our shoulders forward and our hips back, okay? Shoulders forward and hips back, okay? There you go, there you go. Relax just a little bit right in here. We want a little bit of weight on the front side. All right, I like where you're standing, that's good. Go ahead and mount the gun. So what you'll notice is hips back, shoulders forward, nose is now over the front toe. This is gonna allow Patty to be able to get to both sides fluidly. She's gonna move with her hips, not with her arms, okay? And she's gonna be able to handle the recoil, okay? We're shooting a 12 gauge shotgun, and she's gonna be able to handle this recoil. If Patty leans back, guess what happens? She falls back. So this is real important for us when we're shooting to get the shoulders forward, hips back, break the knees so we can move with these targets. Patty, another thing that you do well without even commenting on is you get your face far enough forward on the stock. I always say center plus, okay? I want my face center of the stock plus. If I'm back on the back of the stock, that gun wants to recoil up like this, and that's when we get that red spot on our cheek. But with Patty, she's stretching her neck, she's getting out on the middle plus part of the stock, and she's gonna be able to handle the recoil really well. Now, Patty, quick question before I look. When you look down the muzzle, are the beads aligned?
Yes.
Okay, great. So before we shoot, until this gets extremely comfortable, we're gonna check that alignment, and then we're gonna take our eyes off the muzzle and look into the field where the targets are coming from, okay? But we've gotta make sure that everything's aligned so that that becomes natural, and when we mount the gun, it goes into position. Okay, relax, thank you. So how did that feel?
Oh, good. Yeah, I felt comfortable.
So it felt comfortable. Did it feel kind of natural?
Yes.
Okay, so I try to make people kind of think of other things they do. What other sports do you play?
Tennis.
Tennis is a great example. So in tennis, when you're starting a match, how do you stand? Do you stand straight up and like this, kind of stiff?
No.
No. Okay. You kind of get in a ready position,
yeah.
right?
Right.
Why? This is our most athletic position, which allows us to react and move fluidly. And oh, by the way, at the same time, we have to be kind of not flexed, but relaxed, because that's the way we move the best. If I'm stiff, I don't move well, right? And so tennis, shotgun, golf, football, doesn't matter what we talk about. Our body position is very similar in all of those. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Patty, so we've talked about our eye dominance, we've talked about our mount. Now let's talk about our feet, and then we're gonna get to breaking some birds, okay? So our feet are really important in allowing us to get to the target, because think about this. We got targets that come from way over here and we shoot them over there, or targets that come from over here and we shoot them over there. And so I have to be able to get to both sides and be natural while I do that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
When we get our show pair, which I'll pull you a couple now, we look at where the most optimal opportunity is to break this particular target, okay? So let's start with just trap one. It's coming from the right side of the field. This is a belly crosser, kind of coming from the right, going to the left. On your call.
Pull.
So neither one of us said it, but bang, meaning we would probably break the target, would be in this region here. Would you agree?
I agree. Yes.
Okay, so the most optimal opportunity is there. Now let's learn how to set our feet up for that scenario, okay? So go ahead and grab your gun. Now, Patty, in this scenario, we want to be very natural, we want to be athletic, and we want to feel comfortable, okay? So what I describe that as is just at kind of shoulder width apart, slightly outside if you choose to, but just about shoulder width apart. Now, you're holding the gun in a comfortable way, right?
Yes.
Okay, so where's it pointing? Well, you're naturally holding the gun and it's pointing that direction, okay? That's kind of where we want to break the target, right?
Right.
So now I want to ask you to do it incorrectly. Go ahead and lower it down to where you're just holding it softly like that. Now take that foot and put it over in that corner, okay? Still shoulder width apart. Now where's the gun pointing? Over there, right?
There, yeah. Right,
okay.
over there.
But if I want to break the target there, it would make sense that this scenario is not great, right?
Right.
Now bring that foot and put it over here.
Yes.
A little bit further towards me. Now when you just naturally hold the gun, where is it pointing? Over here. Mm-hmm. Not where we decided to break the bird.
That's right.
We want to break the bird here. So what I'm asking you to do is we're going to position our feet to where your most comfortable place to hold the gun is pointing towards that. And what that's going to allow you to do is go ahead and get reset for our break point. Okay, and you have a little bit more of a closed stance than most people, but that's okay. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this gun, and I want you to tell me when you get tension in your left hip.
Now.
Okay, so right there. Now we're gonna go to the right. Tell me when you get tension in your right hip.
Now.
Okay, so you'll notice that the break point is in the midsection of our comfort zone. We can break the bird anywhere from here to here. This is good. If I get on it early, I'm good. If I get on it late, I'm good. But if we closed our stance one way or the other, then we might run into a scenario where the break point is out of our comfort window, causing us to stop our gun or roll our shoulders. okay? So when you come into the station and you get your show pair, I want you to pick that spot and I want you to get comfortable with that position and know that I can go both ways comfortably. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think it's time to shoot.
I
You
do
ready?
too. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Patty, I said fundamentals, right? We haven't done anything fun yet, but we're going to now. It's time to shoot. Okay, so we've got a crosser from the right. We're going to briefly talk about what it takes to kill this thing consistently, but we're going to use a good mount, a good stance. You're positioning the gun properly under the eye, so I have no doubt that you're going to break the target. But from the get-go, whether you are an amateur or a pro, there's a couple things that I want you to always remember and work on, okay? The easiest thing and the hardest thing is to look at the bird, okay? We want to look at this, but we've got to look at the bird, okay? The easiest and the hardest thing is stare at the bird. The gun will go where the eye goes, okay? The next thing is I want you to learn from the get-go to move with the bird, okay? If I can get the gun moving with the target naturally, same speed, same line, I promise you your consistency will be way higher than if the gun's moving faster or slower. We're going to position ourselves with a good hold point. Do you know what a hold point is?
Yes.
Okay, it's where we start the gun, right?
Yes.
Okay, and the hold point on a crossing target is typically going to be about halfway back from the break point, okay? From the break point, going back to the clay target machine halfway, okay? So earlier we decided that we were going to break this target right in here, so we can assume that the hold point's going to be right in here, okay? Now there's one other thing we've got to think about. What did I say the most important, hardest, and easiest thing to do is? Look at the bird.
Yeah, look at the bird. Right?
Okay, so now we've got the focal point. The focal point is where we place our eyes when we say pull, meaning that your eyes are going to be separated from the gun that's at the hold point, okay? So if the gun is here in the hold point, I want your eyes back in here just on the front of that clay target machine. This is a fairly slow target, so you should be able to see it come off the trap. You'll see it approaching the muzzle. The hands will react, start moving naturally, same speed, same line, and we're going to ease into that break point and execute the shot. Sound
Okay.
good?
Yes.
All right, show me a good mount, good stance. I always like to go to my break point like you just did. Okay, ease on back into that hold point. And on your call, let's make a good move.
Pull.
Dead bird, good shot. How'd that feel?
Good.
How was
Good.
the recoil?
Like not really feeling it.
Okay. Now, Patty, the recoil was soft because you did everything right in the fundamental side, okay? You had your hips back, your shoulders forward, you had your knees broke, you pivoted with that target, same speed, same line, and you broke the target. Now, sporting clays is challenging because we ask you to do this 4 times, not just once. But when we do it right, like Patty just did, then she set herself up for success by creating some consistency. Always go back to the fundamentals. Mount, stance, gun, hold point, break point. If we get all the little things right, being consistent is much, much easier. So, no pressure, but can we do it again?
Sure. That
All
was
right.
fun. Yes. Pull.
Dead bird, right in the middle of both of those. Patty, you're awesome. You're a great shot. You've got a lot of fun ahead of you. And I just want you to remember, and I want everybody else to remember, the fundamentals, okay? Because if we do all these little things right, then breaking clays is what we came for. And this game is really fun if we just break more, right? Okay. Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming out and going through this with us. I hope everybody at home learned something, and we'll see you on the next one.